All right, what's up, team? This is Ruben from TGE, and in today's video, I want to discuss about how a member from TGE made 450% on the SPY crash. You know that this insane fall since like the 600s, right? And I want to go over how he nailed that, okay, and two how this was like alerted, okay? How did we catch this trade, okay? So let's go over the email here. It says, okay, hey friend, I say quick one for you. Yeah. So I said, I want to show you something cool. On April 1st, I gave everyone in TG free a heads up that I was going to go short. Okay. We've been doing a couple group calls here the last couple weeks because I didn't like what the market was happening. And we got on Zoom calls within the group, and I was just saying, look, there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. I don't know what's going to happen, but there are signals that Gextron, which is our internal tool here, is telling us that there's a lot of puts coming in and heavy, and not just short dated, out of the money. And we're talking about in the millions. Every transaction is like 13 million, 10 million, and so on per transaction. So clearly it's at an institutional level. Okay. And on top of that, we were discussing how to size in, right? I said, make sure you have hedges on your long-term assets. So I know we're trading. I know we're very short-term, but I have long-term assets myself too. So I need to make sure that I'm hedging my position accordingly. Okay. And then on top of that, how to size in, I said, these are everything that was happening in the calls. Size small, take a lot of chances, but size small. Don't be afraid to allocate more capital because the volatility is really big. The delta move is going to be very, very huge. So you can make more money from the high IV, but that means you have to size in small though, okay? So not big sizes, smaller sizes, but more chances, right? More occurrences of trading if you can. Okay, so I said here, I'll say I'll do this one more time. I said I'm shorting SPY here at 545 puts, grabbing April 30th. Gextron says 535 is the weekly bottom. Okay, so Gextron tells us what the weekly bottom is for a given ticker, and I can show you how I look at that here in a minute. And I said, and by the end of the week, SPY dropped to 505, right? In just a few days, it went up and then it went down, just cratered, right? And one of the TGE members, he posted his return. He said he's out of half of the position at 450%. Let's see how long it can go. Come on, 535. So if he held longer to 505, that's wild. That's an insane return for SPY, right? And he said, Ruben, applause to you on your SPY put of 2 days ago, a low of 536 and trending lower in after hours. That was an amazingly precision call out when SPY was trading more than 30 points higher. Thank you for sharing, everyone. There is a breakdown video here in the community that I posted, and I think it's also in the YouTube channel, so you might want to check that out if you want to see how I did that. I said, so what gave me the conviction? Why did I go on puts, right? And there's the video right here. So if you want to check that one out, it's somewhere in the catalog. I said Gextron option flow is pretty darn good. Okay, so Gextron is the tool that you can have access to as well too. There's a 7-day free trial if you want to try it out. So risk free for you. And you can see here, this is our option flow tape at the moment. Okay, it's very particular on what we're looking for. In the case of SPY, like what we're looking at here, we just want to look at like big orders for SPY, and you can see that there's a lot of puts, lots of calls. This is today's data, so it's changing throughout the day, right? As of 10:31 Eastern time, this was just like 20 minutes ago as of now. Here are some orders that are being put. It's a little bit of mixed calls, but at the time there was a lot. Let me see if I put a picture here. I didn't put a picture here. There was a lot of puts out of the money for April 4th, right? This was last week. And so that was a big telltale. That was a big signal. You wouldn't have been able to see this on the tape at all, because if you look at this, the April 1st was this dash line, vertical line right here. And there's nothing on price action or historical data that would signal this drop, right? So the best way to kind of be able to anticipate what's happening is one, use expected move, use option flow data. Okay, see what's coming into the tape because that's going to affect the overall underlying asset. And then also make sure you're spotting like for unusual orders, like really large institutional levels. So it's not the easiest because this can kind of bamboozle you if it goes up, but you can see here that as soon as it drops, it's just ridiculous, right? So this was based on news too. Okay, so I said Gextron's pretty darn good. It highlights unusual flows and shows you how aggressive. Okay, that's actually perfect. Let me show you Gextron real quick. So the way this works with the option flow on Gextron is that it gives you color coding. Now, if you ever looked at a time and sales, it's essentially that. I show you the strategies that are being purchased, right? Each row is a column of per transaction, and there's going to be text like that's white color, so that's kind of like mid. It's kind of hard to gauge whether it was like a bearish transaction or a bullish transaction, whether it's a call or a put, whatever the case is, right? And then you're going to see here, there's some with red text. So this is a good example here. Red text put means that somebody purchased this transaction, this position at the ask level, right? You have ask and bid, right? Buyers, uh, buyers buy the ask and sellers sell the bid, okay? And so here at 524 or this 524 strike put, we would see a lot of like red text. Okay, so a lot of purchasing was being done um, at the ask, right? So a lot of buyers were buying puts at the ask. Okay, and just think about that for a second. Like when you're buying a contract, you're buying the ask because you kind of just want to get in. You just want to get in. If you were like trying to take your time or whatever, trying to get the best, you would try to get a midfill, right? Okay, but in this case, now let's take a look at the call here. You see, it's a red text and it says call. And that's because somebody sold this position at the bid level, right? So if a seller's selling at the bid level, it's because they want to get rid of it. Okay. Now, this is how the color coding here. And sometimes in Gextron, you'll see highlighted backgrounds. So this is highlighted green. This is an aggressive sell because it's a put. This is a bullish sentiment, right? This is bearish sentiment, red text. Green is bullish sentiment. Here's actually a couple before I show you the highlighted backgrounds. Here's some green text. Okay, so this is a green text on the put because somebody sold the put position at the bid level. So Gextron assumes that they're getting rid of the position at the bid level. They just want to get rid of it. If you see something with a green text for a call, somebody's buying a call position at the ask level, right? At the ask price level. So this is like somebody that just wants to get in. And then sometimes you'll see highlighted backgrounds. Okay, let me see if we can spot some other ones here. Okay, this is a good example here. Let's take a look at this one. So this is a put with a green background because somebody got rid of this put position below the bid level. So they're really just trying to get rid of it. Aggressive selling. They're getting rid of the put bearish position as fast as possible, right? And sometimes you'll see, let's take a look at puts, the backgrounds here. Okay. So bearish. Sometimes you'll see a call with a green highlighted background. That means somebody's buying a call at a very aggressive level above the ask. Okay, so that's aggressive. So that's a very aggressive bullish sentiment. So you'll see highlighted green. Okay, and then sometimes you'll see red. It's the opposite, right? So like if it's a call, it's below the bid, which is they're getting rid of that call position below the bid. They're trying to get rid of it. If you see a put, they're buying a put above the ask, right? So it's very bearish, very aggressive sentiment, right? And at the time before this was happening, I saw a lot of just red text, a lot of red positions, right? A lot of red color coding. There was some red backgrounds like this, highlighted red backgrounds, but it was a lot of red text, and also in the millions. Like on the right hand side, you'll see that there's the premium level, and you'll see there was like 20 million, 18 million, 10 million per transaction. So it was a lot of bearish sentiment. A lot of premium, a lot of notional value going into these positions. Okay, so that's how I was able to gauge, like, hey, look, right now the market is falling, but it may get worse, and this is a good time to size down, put some hedges on your long-term assets, and then also let's get some puts along the way. Okay, so I said, here's my go-to combo: option flow tape, expected move plus key levels. Okay, the key levels in Gextron is really easy. You just look for the big bars. Each big bar is a key level, okay, because they can act as support or resistance. The whole idea with Gextron is simple: get real-time option data and use it to predict where stocks may want to go based on the premium flow and positioning. That's the whole point of Gextron. It's just get the option flow data. Let's decrypt it, right? Let Gextron do the heavy lifting and just tell us where the key levels are. What is the probability of a stock going from now in the current price to where it can go in the future by a specific date, right? That has a good 70% hit rate. And then the option flow, right? It just tells you, like, what's the sentiment on the market participants and how is that going to affect market makers. Okay, so it takes a lot of the guesswork out of trading. And then one question that I get a lot is, where's the data coming from? Yeah, if you go to the homepage here, we actually get the data from Opera, from the option pricing, the options price reporting authority. Okay, so it's straight from the horse's mouth. And then also, Gextron just got approved for the security data from SIP. So the dark pool data is coming soon for Gextron. I'm really excited for that. So Gextron is going to be really, really, it's legit, and it's at an institutional level reliability. Okay, so it's, this is the kind of stuff that Gextron focuses on: dark pool, option flow, option premium. Tell us where is future pricing possible and where are key levels, right? And all we have to do as traders is just react based on price action. We don't have to do any of the thinking about, like, where are key levels, where's support and resistance, what's the expected move. No, we're gonna let Gextron take care of that with implied volatility, and we just react. That's it. Okay. And that's it. That's it for this video. If you're interested in trying out Gextron, okay, there is a 7-day free trial, risk-free. Try it out, and then I'll work with you. We'll get on a Zoom call, and I'll work with you to see how we can implement it to your strategy and so on. I'll put a couple descriptions or a couple links in the description box. Let me know if you have any questions. Peace out.